Ever imagine having like a permanent address, but like among the stars?
Mhm.
Well, that's what we're diving into today, the International Space Station.
Yeah.
Humanity's ambitious, I mean, incredibly ambitious project,
Yeah.
hurtling through space like as we speak. And to guide us through this, we're going into the book, The International Space Station, Zero Gravity Maximum Discovery
Okay.
by Dr. Leo Lexicon. It's for all of you curious minds out there,
Uh,
especially if you really like your science on the cutting edge.
the ISS, it's really a fascinating blend of just intricate engineering and unwavering human ambition.
It really is. And just the idea, the very concept of a space station
Mm.
has captured our imaginations,
Yeah.
for over a century.
Right.
Dr. Lexicon talks about these visionaries like Tsiolkovsky who like envisioned these structures, these colossal structures in space.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild to think about those early concepts often born during like times of global tension actually kind of paved the way for this incredible demonstration of global collaboration.
Well, and what's fascinating is how the Cold War, I mean, a period obviously, defined by rivalry, inadvertently kind of fueled this collaboration. You can even look at the Apollo-Soyuz test project back in '75.
Right.
The first joint U.S.-Soviet space mission, even at the peak of their standoff, like these superpowers still, they found common ground in space.
It's amazing. It's a testament to the unifying potential of space exploration.
Yeah.
But then when the Soviet Union crumbled, right, this partnership kind of transformed from symbolic to like essential.
Exactly, exactly. It was a lifeline for Russia,
Oh,
for
no.
their space program.
Right.
And for the U.S., it was tapping into Russia's, their wealth of experience
Exactly.
with long-duration space flight, thanks to the Mir station. It was turning a geopolitical challenge into, I think, an unprecedented opportunity.
Okay, so let's talk about the nuts and bolts for a second,
Yeah.
because building something in space, piece by piece, with components like sourced from all over the world,
Yeah.
that sounds like the ultimate engineering puzzle.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine this. You're trying to connect a power cable from, say, a Japanese module to a Russian one.
Okay.
You've got different voltages, different designs, everything. Standardization was absolutely key. From the tiny screw to the software, everything had to be on the same page.
The level of coordination is just, it's mind-blowing. And Dr. Lexicon really, he takes us behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about making the pieces fit. They had to function, right, in one of the most extreme environments we can
Oh.
imagine.
Oh, for sure.
Scorching temperatures, constant radiation, and micrometeoroids just zipping around at insane speeds.
It's a lot.
They had to build something tough.
And they did. One of the biggest challenges shielding the ISS from space debris, which is a real threat. This isn't, science fiction.
Right.
Dr. Lexicon actually dedicates a good chunk of this book to explaining how they did it.
So what'd they do? Build like a force field?
Well, not quite a force field, but pretty close. They developed what's called Whipple shielding. It's a kind of multi-layered defense system. Breaks apart debris on impact. Think
Okay.
of it like a bulletproof vest,
Okay.
but for the space station. So instead of stopping a bullet, it transforms like dangerous debris into this harmless cloud of, smaller particles.
That's some serious impressive engineering.
It is.
But what about the necessities? Like just the necessities of life, creating a self-sustaining system to recycle air and water in space. That boggles the mind.
You're talking about the Environmental Control and Life Support System,
Right.
the ECLSS.
Right. Okay.
That system is crucial because, every drop of water is precious up there.
Yeah.
Did you know it costs thousands of dollars just to send a single liter of water to the ISS?
Really?
Oh, yeah. So recycling, it's non-negotiable,
Yeah.
especially with these long-term missions.
Recycling is one thing, but Dr. Lexicon mentions that the ECLSS recycles up to 90% of water, including urine. That just shows how ingenious this system is.
It really is a testament to pushing the boundaries of science and technology,
Right.
which is something that we're really passionate about, at Lexicon Labs.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
for listeners who are as fascinated by these topics as we are, Lexicon Labs has a whole library of titles just waiting to be discovered.
Oh, yeah. Tons of deep dives, from AI to coding, history, entrepreneurship. There's something for everyone.
But getting back to the ECLSS, it wasn't just about making it, technically possible. It had to be reliable enough to support human life for months,
Yeah.
potentially years at a time.
Without fail, yeah.
Talk about pressure.
Right.
Imagine being responsible for the very air and water that these astronauts are relying on.
Right.
Speaking of astronauts, we've talked about the engineering marvel that is the ISS, but what's it actually like to live up there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Living 250 miles above the Earth, it's almost beyond comprehension.
Dr. Lexicon, he really paints this vivid picture of life in microgravity.
Yeah.
For starters, everything we take for granted, sleeping, eating, even moving around, becomes a whole new challenge.
I can't even imagine, like, pouring a glass of juice in that environment.
Right. It'd be like a wobbly ball just floating in midair. And, forget about a relaxing hot shower after a long day.
Right.
Dr. Lexicon was saying that astronauts have to use these rinseless wipes and shampoos.
So not exactly a spa day up there.
No, definitely function over fashion when you're in space, right?
Yeah.
But one thing that's even more crucial in microgravity than it is on Earth is exercise.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about, staying in shape here.
For those of us who have only dreamed of experiencing microgravity, paint us a picture. Like, what's it like to move around up there?
It's almost like swimming through air, but even smoother,
Yeah.
You're constantly aware of your body's weightlessness.
Wow.
And every movement takes this conscious effort.
Bad. That must take some getting used to.
It does. But here's the thing. Without the constant pull of gravity, your bones and muscles, they start to weaken. Astronauts, they lose bone density much faster than people on Earth, especially in their hips and spines.
I never realized the impact would be that significant. So these daily workouts, they're not just about fitness. It's essential for ensuring these astronauts can safely return to Earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They've got these specialized exercise machines that try to simulate weightlifting
Okay.
and help maintain that bone density.
Okay.
It's you have to strap yourself in for a workout that's literally fighting against the effects of space.
Wow. That's intense. It's mind-blowing to think about those physical challenges.
Yeah.
But what surprised you most about the astronaut experience when you were, researching for this book?
What really struck me was the psychological aspect.
Yeah.
Just being up there for months at a time, cut off from the everyday sights and sounds and, smells of Earth, the people you love, confined to, this relatively small space, it takes a toll.
Yeah, it must take incredible mental strength to cope with that kind of isolation and confinement.
It really does. Dr. Lexicon doesn't shy away from those challenges in this book either.
Right.
The constant pressure of being in this high-stakes environment, the lack of privacy, even something as simple as a disruption to your sleep cycle.
Right.
It can have a huge impact on crew morale.
Yeah, it makes you realize that being an astronaut requires not just physical strength
Right.
and scientific expertise, but incredible resilience and adaptability.
Resilience is a good word for it. It's not all, work and no play, though.
Right.
They do get some downtime, books, movies, video calls with family, and of course that view.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine looking out the cupola window at the Earth?
I know.
This vibrant, swirling sphere of blue and green.
Yeah.
Talk about perspective.
Right. It's got to be incredible. Just this constant reminder of why they're up there, what they're working toward, what they miss back home.
It's fascinating how the ISS, it showcases this interplay between, cutting-edge technology
Yeah.
and the very human experiences of the people, living and working there.
It's true.
But it's not just a floating home away from home,
Oh,
right? It's also a one-of-a-kind laboratory.
that's right.
I mean, where else can you study the effects of microgravity on everything from, the human body to plant growth?
It really is like a scientific playground up there,
Right.
with research on everything from muscle atrophy to how flames behave in the absence of gravity.
I bet that makes for some interesting, unique experiments.
It does. And here's where it gets really interesting. These experiments, they aren't just for the astronauts. They have practical applications, for us back on Earth.
That's what I find so exciting about all this potential for, discoveries in space to
Yeah.
lead to these breakthroughs that improve life for everyone.
Absolutely. Take the research on bone loss in space. It's helping us better understand osteoporosis and develop new treatments.
Right.
Or the experiments with growing plants in space.
Which could be vital
Yeah.
for long-duration missions.
Exactly.
And could even revolutionize agriculture, in really harsh environments here on Earth.
Right.
It's incredible.
And then you've got that unique vantage point of the ISS, just observing Earth from space,
Yeah.
It provides this critical data on climate change. It tracks natural disasters, in real time, and it just gives us this whole new perspective on things that we just we can't grasp from down here,
Right.
you know?
It's like having a giant orbiting laboratory just constantly monitoring the health of our planet.
It really is. It's like having a finger on Earth's pulse from, hundreds of miles above.
It's amazing to think about the impact the ISS has had, from scientific breakthroughs to like inspiring a whole generation of scientists and explorers.
Yeah.
But, as with all good things, it's not going to last forever.
That's right. It has, an expiration date. The ISS is set to retire sometime in the next decade, but it's not like the end of the story.
That makes this whole conversation like bittersweet. Dr. Lexicon, he outlines a couple of possibilities for what happens next, right? After the ISS.
One possibility is transitioning the ISS to commercial operations.
So opening it up to, like,
Yeah.
private companies
Yeah,
for research, space tourism, that kind of thing.
exactly.
Wow.
Imagine a future where, private companies conduct experiments, develop new technologies, even offer space travel experiences, all aboard the ISS.
That would be incredible. Opening up space to even more people, fostering that sense of wonder. What about the other option that Dr. Lexicon mentions?
The other option, well, it's a bit more nostalgic. It's to safely deorbit the ISS, bring it back down to Earth.
Wow. I can't even imagine the logistics of that.
It's a complex maneuver, but they've already identified a designated spacecraft cemetery in a remote part of the ocean.
A spacecraft cemetery.
Yeah, it's a bit of a grim name, but essentially it's a region of the ocean where retired satellites and spacecraft can be safely brought down, without posing any risk to people or shipping lanes or any of that.
That's fascinating. So even in its final act, the ISS would be like giving back to the planet,
Yeah.
ensuring that it leaves as little trace as possible.
It really is. And its legacy, it will extend far beyond its physical presence in space.
In what ways? How so?
Well, think about the international cooperation that made the ISS possible. This project, it brought together scientists, engineers, governments from around the world in this shared mission.
Right.
And that spirit of collaboration, of pushing these boundaries together, that's something that will undoubtedly influence, future space endeavors.
Yeah, it really is a testament to what we can achieve
Yeah.
as humans when we work together, towards a common goal. It gives me like goosebumps. For our listeners who are just as captivated by the ISS as we are, how can they dive a little deeper into its story?
Well, I highly recommend checking out Dr. Lexicon's book,
Of course, yeah.
The International Space Station, Zero Gravity, Maximum Discovery. It really is an enthralling read. It's packed with insights and anecdotes that bring the ISS to life. You can find links to purchase the book in the description of this episode.
And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to the Lexicon Labs YouTube channel and follow Dr. Lexicon on X and TikTok for, more captivating insights into the world of science and technology.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want like a regular dose of,
Right.
mind-blowing discoveries
Yeah,
and explorations?
exactly.
Until next time, keep looking up.
And let's keep exploring the universe together, one deep dive at a time.